saying are completely valid. For me, over the past few years, being a single mom at this point in my life, and doing what I'm doing and working and freelancing and trying to get back into the swing of things and so on and so forth, I've learned that the biggest thing for me to be healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually is to be living in my truth. And that is a hard thing for people to do. And I always give the analogy, like, you ever been in a relationship or friendship, whatever, you're sitting at a table with somebody, you're having a conversation, and then at some point in the conversation, a truth bomb has to go off, and it's usually triggered by someone saying, just be honest, just tell me the truth, right? And then as soon as somebody tells the truth, what happens? Now you're looking at each other like, why the hell did I just say, go ahead and tell me the truth? You could have just lied, we would have been better off, like everything would have been good, we could have moved away from this and still loved each other, liked each other, whatever, right?
There's a book called Tribes that speaks to the power of having people behind you in your circle who kind of are all rooting towards this one common goal. And identifying mentors, it's not just identifying those people who are in the positions you want to be in at some point. It's about identifying those people who stand for things that you also stand for and who have a vision, whether it relates, it can be a doctor and you want to work in media. It can be an engineer and you work in sound design. It's identifying those people who will push you forward and will give you the encouragement and the advice in different perspectives and be real with you at the end of the day. It's easy to fall in the trap of, I'm gonna go speak to this person because I know she's gonna tell me yes, so I'm gonna have a yes man on my team because I don't want to hear the truth. But when you reach out to people, it's a matter of, again, getting those different perspectives.
Program right now, I can't really explain to her how agonizing the research and the writing and time management and my confidence, right? And this is for me because my coworkers, not my coworkers, my classmates are 50 and up, right? And I'm the youngest, and you know, all these different insecurities that I have, and I'm like, I can't talk to my mom about that. So having a therapist to help me, not maybe just, I guess, sort through the thoughts, but mainly the thoughts that create feelings, right? It's like, that's essentially what it is. I feel bad or I feel scared because I think this. And so that's really been in my toolbox, and it's honestly been a life-changing experience because I'm not as stressed, not as anxious. I mean, I still struggle with sleep, but there were times where I did not sleep at all because I was so worried about the next day.
Just because someone has a particular title or, you know, they're, you know, at the top of the hierarchy of this particular organization doesn't mean that that's the person you want in your life. I have seen many of leaders that I'm like, you know what, you're successful, but your work ethic or the way you approach things is not how I want to approach things. You know, you place work over family, spiritual, health, everything. And that's completely opposite for me. And I think it's important too, when I say aligning yourselves with someone who shares your values, that can also mean your peers.
So one way I work for people is I try to share resources, share business referrals, you know, promote them to my network. But like Wendy said, until you prove that you can't handle that, right? So if somebody gives you a referral, somebody refers you to something, and then you do not take advantage of that opportunity, you handle it poorly, then like my friend down there said, then you have to share some truth at that point. And we have to have a come to Jesus moment and discuss why.
When I have to make certain decisions, I go to my mom. When I have to make certain decisions, I go to my boss or my director at work. When I want a spiritual conversation, I can go to my director at work, which is usually abnormal in a corporate environment. But when you create those connections with people on a personal level, not just on their professional level, like, okay, you have this title, which is great and that's outstanding, but what does your life look like, right? So if you're giving me advice about how I'm going to progress my career, that also involves a work-life balance. So if you can't give me insight on how to do that, you telling me what to do professionally is not necessarily going to help me in my personal life.
I'm one of two African Americans. I am the only African American female in my department. So there's three, and I want y'all to write these down because I think they're really good personally. The first thing that you need to do is, it starts with yourself. You become an ally. When I first got to UCF, I joined every diversity and inclusion committee that I can join. I went through every LGBTQ plus training that I can go through to become an advocate. I went through every financial training and university system training that I can go through. So when it came time for those committees to be formed, I was eligible to even be on them, because that's the first thing that they're going to tell us. You don't have the ability or the skill or the eligibility to be involved in this. So become an ally, get the trainings, find out what you need to do to be involved at some point. It might not be today, but when a time comes, you'll be ready to step to the plate. The next thing I do, give and take feedback. Give it and take it. I know it's hard sometimes. Everybody's delivery not right all the time, but listen and provide. I got to sit on a panel for hiring for a position a couple months ago, and there were some external candidates and there were some internal candidates. And I just knew this internal candidate was gonna knock us out the water. I had worked with her personally. I knew she had the skill sets. I knew she was gonna be able to do it. We went through the first few rounds, and the people came in swinging. They were ready and fighting to be in our university. And by the time it got to the internal candidate, she got in that room and it was like I was looking at a completely different person. She did not sell herself. She did not speak about the things that she did on a daily basis. She didn't sell herself. And I think it's because we easily fall into that, I'm comfortable where I am. They know what I do. They gonna speak on my behalf. But no one's gonna speak up for you the way you will. So, second point, take feedback, give feedback. I gave her some feedback. I know she's going through another round of interviews for a different position. She came to me and she said, I want you to hear my elevator pitch, because I know they're gonna ask me about the elevator pitch. What questions do you think they're gonna ask me? Can you listen to my answers and tell me what you think, how they sound? So again, give feedback, take feedback. Last point, invite. Bring people to those spaces and those places that you go to. In October, Alex came with me to a conference that I put on in California, and it was for the Emma Bowen Foundation. And one of the things he said that sticks in my mind to this day was, I wish I had known about this program when I was in college. Wow, this is amazing. You don't know what spaces and places people have been in and what they're aware of. And if you're not inviting them to come along, they're never gonna know. He took photos for us and did videos for us that day, and I'm hoping that because I invited him to come along to that and they saw his work, that he'll be invited down the road to the potential events that we go. So again, inviting people gives them the opportunity to show their skill sets, to network and meet other people, and to also have the opportunity to have the same opportunities that you have had.
Taking feedback is very important, or if you have in opposition, same with resumes. A lot of professors here believe that pictures on resumes are good. In career development, we have found that they aren't as effective because that leaves room for discrimination, right? Somebody can look at your picture and say the hell with what your experience may be. People have their personal biases, and we can't pretend like that doesn't happen. So again, just kind of be open, and at the end of the day, make your own decision. I think another piece of rooting for someone, for me personally, has been just showing up. When I left what did we have the other night? The game night, and I told you guys about the Central Florida Soul Fest. And y'all emailed me volunteer forms almost immediately. That means a lot to me. This is going to be the first music festival of that kind here in Orlando, and I'm telling these people, hey, I got some great Full Sail students. They can volunteer. This would be great for their resume. I don't mind writing letters of recommendations, but y'all didn't even know all that. It was just like, hey, I want to help.
Another big thing for me when I was coming up freelancing and starting my brand out and stuff like that, I would barter business. And I'm like, look, I got you on 5 flyers if you could do my photo shoot for free. You feel me? Like, your next event, I'll be your event manager if you got me on da-da-da-da-da. And it's kind of like an IOU until you both get to a place financially that you can support one another. Like she said, showing up is so key. I had events that people that I don't talk to on a regular basis showed up to, and that for me was everything. I mean, everything. Yes, I had a squad that was there the whole time, but the people who showed up saw it on social media, and they kind of just been peeping on the low. You got people following you and watching you, whether you think so or not. They waiting on you to make that move, that jump, that thing that they're like, ooh, okay, now I can support them. Okay, now I can go get involved with what they got going on, or maybe I'll go show up to their event. So at any point in time, you're on interview, and at any point in time, people are watching you. The next generation is watching you. You guys are the ones that are going to represent what rooting for each other even looks like. So